my name is Sarah Cadlick, and I am presenting for Personal and Social Ethics, Dr. Brad Knox's class. I'm first going to start with a few biblical passages that reflect Christian ethics. The first one is Exodus 21 through 17. Majority of this is the 10 Commandments, things like you shall not steal, you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor, you shall not covet your neighbor's house or anything that belongs to your neighbor. These are foundational things that we start with in the Bible. A lot of people learn them at a young age, can build upon them as they grow up, or if you're introduced to it later on in life, you can always reference back to these and it'll be foundational knowledge for you. Another passage that reflects Christian ethics is 2 Corinthians 5:15. It says, "And he died for all, so that all those who live might live no longer to and for themselves, but to and for him who died and was raised again for their sake." And what's really important about this passage is that we treat our neighbor as we would ourselves. This goes to show that you're selfless, that you're compassionate, that you're willing to help others succeed and help others when they may be burdened. The last biblical passage I chose that reflects Christian ethics is Psalms 10:16 through 18. "The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations will perish from his land. You, Lord, hear the desire of the afflicted. You encourage them and you listen to their cry, defending the fatherless and oppressed, so that mere earthly mortals will never again strike terror." This is important because one of the Christian ethics we learn is to help the less fortunate, to encourage them, listen to their cry, as it says in Psalms 10:17, and really to reach out to the oppressed, reach out to the less fortunate, volunteer your time. And this is something that can show up at work, something that can show up at home, something that can show up even in your relationship at home. Maybe they are struggling with something, but you need to reach out, grab their hand, and pull them up out of that. The case study that I chose was when a friend came to me and didn't go into work. She just forgot to go into work. It was an honest mistake, and she was scared she was going to get in trouble and didn't know what to tell her boss. How I walked her through this process is first asked her, the goofy question of what would Jesus do? As goofy as that is, we want to reflect his image and his character. She can read the 10 Commandments, ask for help from a spiritual mentor, church member, or family member, pray about it. In this case, we chose honesty as the best policy. She just explained to her boss that she forgot, and he was completely understanding, and everything blew over from there. However, if she would have, sorry, the camera messed up on here. If she would have said something different, we don't know how that would have turned out or what the consequences may have been later on. We should always trust the examples in the Bible and use them to guide our decision-making process. I believe that the Word is alive and active. We should meditate and spend time on the Word to receive answers and clarity. One topic I feel undecided on is the ethical topic of reproductive technologies. There's 7 different ways that all assist in reproducing. I'm undecided because I believe science has come such a great way. We've learned so much and we've helped people have children. But I'm unsure if we're going too far and getting in the way of God's plan. I do come back to the story of Abraham and Sarah again and again. Their blessing was waiting in God's timing. Instead of waiting, they chose to take it into their own hands, and that caused a lot of tension. Sarah became jealous. She resented Abraham and had to go to God over and over to resolve that and to check her heart posture. I learned more about physician-assisted suicide as an ethical dilemma. The reason why I was interested in this is because my father is on 24/7 nurse care right now. He has been for a while, and our family has always thought about different options. It hasn't gotten to this point, but it's something that we may need to consider in the future, or he may need to consider, but of course we don't want that to happen. I didn't know it was an option until this class. So he's on 24/7 nurse care, and this is something that would be an option for him, and it's good to always know what people are doing and how we can be an active role to plan against that. I believe from a biblical perspective that we're made in God's image, we're a sacred gift, and innocent life is not to be taken. The timing and manner of a person's death belong ultimately to God. And that's a quote from our textbook from page 23. I think it's really important to remember that even through that suffering and through maybe family drama or family pain, when it becomes too painful, God will take the lead from there. Another ethical dilemma I learned about was abortion. For example, the Roe v. Wade case that spurred on the legalization of abortion and stemmed the beginning of debates. You are allowed to abort on demand during the first trimester of pregnancy. I'm currently in my 7th month of pregnancy right now, and I can't imagine my life any other way. It was a long journey to get here. Something that we sewed over and prayed over for a long time. I had lost my baby brother due to a stillbirth, and that was hard, and that was something that I've always been fearful of. My 3 aunts went through the same thing, so we really have to trust in God's plan and timing and make sure that comes to fruition. The Human Genome Project was one of the most ambitious scientific projects ever attempted and received some of the most substantial funding of any single project of scientific research. The goal of the project was to map the entire human genetic code, thereby finding as many genetic links and predispositions to disease as possible. This brings up playing the hand of God. Are we selecting for disability? And our moral reflection must keep up with scientific progress. And lastly, these are my works cited. I use the textbook for majority. A couple different sources here listed: The Case Against Perfection and Final Wishes. I also used the New International Version of the Bible to receive my verses from. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.